Hello. Starting event. All right. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining from on this special, amazing day. It's wonderful. It's a great day already. And I welcome you to the P4P Book Club. And we are running the book review for the Dale Carnegie bestseller book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And if you're joining on the Clubhouse, I welcome you to today's session. This is my very first, I would say very first room on Clubhouse in a long time. I've done rooms before, but just for play, for test. But this is like, the real deal. So we'll see how it goes and see if we can have a guest on there as well. So I welcome you all to this amazing session today. Thank you so much for being with me today. And those on YouTube, it's going to be an amazing time of learning together. So welcome everybody. So today we are starting this book. This is the very first session of the book review, How to Win Friends and Influence People, written by Dale Carnegie. This is an amazing book if you are if you're a human being, period. If you're a human and you are looking to increase your friendliness, being, coming to people as being friendly, you want to gain more friends, you want to be more acceptable, to people. And then if you're in some kind of a career that requires you to work with others. Now tell me, what career does not require you to work with other people? Do you want to say sales? If you're in sales, absolutely, you need to be able to work with other people. All right. And if you are in, whatever field you're in, you need this. So marketing, sales, network marketers, you need to be able to influence other people so that they can, of course, you begin to, so they can see, okay, what is in this for them, because it goes a long way. All right, so I see some of my people asking for the link to the Zoom, because I'm running this primarily on the Zoom. It's been a while I shared the link. That's interesting. All right, so let me see the link to the Zoom, the link to the Zoom, the link, here it is. All right. Okay. Thank you. There it is. All right. So, yeah. So whatever vocation you're in, whatever career you're in, and especially if you're in sales, if you're in, any career that requires you to deal with customers, that require you to deal with clients, you need to be able to, influence those people so that they can see the benefit. They can, look forward to working with you, so they can be, open to being within your circle of influence. All right. So definitely this is a must read for anyone. I wonder how come I have not, read this, but I'm glad I got to, doing this at this time. So welcome. Today, by God's grace, we're going to be covering part 1, which is fundamental techniques in handling people. fundamental techniques in handling people. If you're a leader of persons, you're a people manager, you're in sales, you're a network marketer, whatever it is, you know you handle people, right? And as you're building your team as a network marketer, you know you need to be able to handle people so you can influence them in being able, encourage them, you can motivate them to be able to work their business, to be able to, buy into, whatever it is that you are presenting to them. Hey, Nancy, thanks for joining. All right. So fundamental techniques in handling people. This is, as it says, as it's, passes it across, it is fundamental. And I'm sure this will not be foreign to you. These techniques, these principles will not be foreign to you, but where this book might be very, very helpful is given very, very real life examples, being able to provide real life examples where these principles were applied. And then the way Dale wrote the book is so very, very helpful in a way that he literally puts you in a situation where you can see the difference in not applying these techniques and principles, and then when you apply the techniques and principles. And by the time you see the response that they got, you will be able to, it will be an aha moment for you that, okay, maybe the encounter I had at some time ago would have been salvaged if I'd learned of this technique before then. But like I said, it's never too late. We are here and we are reading the book, we're reviewing the book, we're learning these techniques. And one of the things that he emphasized at the beginning of this book. Oh, I missed you too. Nisiat. Thanks for coming. Yes. Amazing. All right. So one of the things that he mentioned in the book is this is not a knowledge book. And I want to emphasize that this is not a knowledge book, and that is in his writing, Dale, brings it to us in that manner, because it gives you real life experiences, real life examples, word for word, what the other person said, letters they wrote, encounters they had, and how, they could have done it through these techniques and what the result could have been. And when I was going through the book, one of the things that I found myself doing is putting myself as on the receiving end of some of the comments or some of the letters. If I were the one reading the letter, if I were the one receiving the email, while we're going through the book, you're going to see some places that I commented that, wow, I've seen this done in emails, marketing emails before. So it's a technique that works because it worked on me. I'm saying, at least I know it works on me, right? So it's definitely something we need to learn, to be able to be successful in influencing other people to, look into what we are presenting to them. Because if you have the best product in the world and you're not able to get people to look at it at all, it doesn't do anything, right? This product is going to be helpful to them. We're getting into, the weather now, in the summer, how, skincare is very, very important. And you're in a skincare business that has been given amazing results, and you're not able to get people to check it out, to try it. There's nothing. You won't be able, number one, they will not benefit from, all of the amazing things that the skincare product is doing, and two, you're not going to make money. All right. So this is why it's very, very essential to learn this technique. So the very first one we're dealing with today, we're dealing with the part 1, definitely. So we're going to be looking at chapters 1, 2, and 3. And the very first chapter says, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. I mean, looking at that, it's just straightforward, right? It's wisdom, straight up wisdom. But we know that about bees and beehive, but when we're talking about human relations, dealing with one another, dealing with each other, we kind of take the opposite approach. And here is emphasizing on criticism versus appreciation. Okay, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. Okay, so we're going to look at it, and I've highlighted some things that those are the points I'm going to make. And as we are here, if you have any comments that you want to add, please, you can raise your hand. I would love to hear you talk about it. But if you're in a place that you cannot say anything, you cannot unmute, and because of background noise or whatever, you can put it in a comment. I would love to hear from you. Let's make it interactive. All right, so chapter 1 of this, the main thing, let me see. Okay, so the main thing here is learning how to appreciate people more than employing criticism. And of course, we all know, will there be need? Well, will there be occasion that would want to make us criticize people? Now, this has been something. This particular one is a big one for me, particularly because I don't know why I made it so personal, for me, given I'm into IT, software analysis, software quality analysis, and mostly what, professionally, what I need to do is look at a product, a software product, and look for everything that is not working in it. Everything that is not working in it. And the more I dig that out, the better my relationship between myself and the developers are, because they're happy I'm able to catch their defects before it goes to production. Now, that is good when you are working with software. You want to catch all the bugs. You want to catch all the issues, right? Before you take it out. But I started seeing, the negative effect on myself. I began to be very critical. If you ask me, what is my opinion about anything, the very first thing I go for is what is wrong with it. Oh my God. But at a few years back, I started realizing, this might work well. It's amazing. You're going to get paid. I got promoted. I became a manager. I did well. These are things, I got on the job newly, and somebody had been testing the product, that particular software. When I got on there, they were almost deploying to production. But of course, the developers, they were doing some testing because they didn't trust this tester. They were doing some testing themselves. They were finding those bugs, and they were like, why is this tester not finding these bugs? But then I got on the job. Within 1 week, their test results were loaded. The test results application were loaded with my test results, my report that says, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working. And then they got on this monthly meeting, like a town hall meeting, and all of them, the managers, the VPs, they're like, yes, we found somebody that is doing this job amazingly. That is, they were, who are you? They all came out and say, this is the person we appreciate today. So it worked on my job. But when it comes to dealing with people, but then I realized I began to do that. So when I saw that, of course, I knew something's got to give. I have to make a change. I definitely had to make a change. And I started, I've been on the journey. I'm not there yet. I am definitely not there yet. So I am very, very conscious when when people ask me my opinion and how I respond to that and all of that. So I am picking this technique. It's just driving it in for me, seriously. So definitely something I am still learning. And I figured I do well with my kids on all of that. I do well with my kids with appreciation. I don't criticize them, but ask me the other ones, right? So we have to definitely, this is something that, yes, you're welcome. This is something that is very, very essential in your relationships, at home, in your relationship. Let's start from that. At home in your relationship, how is your relationship with your spouse? Your relationships with your superiors, your relationship with your friends, your relationship with your children. How are those? And then, as we apply that from the physical world, we have to bring it to virtual world as well. A lot of people are so free to criticize while typing with their thumbs on their phone. They're quick and easy, quickly, to bring criticism. Before earlier today, I saw a clip where, somebody was doing comedy, and then the comments under it, oh my God, they're like, you don't have any business doing comedy. I'm like, really? Yeah. This is, and I just, some of the lessons I learned from here, I was able to see, okay, how could they have worded it better, for this person? Okay, so definitely in all of our interactions, in all of our relationships, we need this. Okay, so one of the things, I love this very much. Dale cited John Wanamaker here. The founder of the stores that bear his name once confessed, I learned 30 years ago that it is foolish to scold. It is foolish to scold. How does that feel? He says, I have enough trouble overcoming my own limitations without fretting over the fact that God has not seen fit to distribute evenly the gift of intelligence. So not everybody, we have to learn this lesson. Not everybody is at the same level of IQ that we are, number one. Not everybody is in the same circumstance and situations that we are in, number two. Not everybody sees things the same way as we do. So everyone will have their own point of view. Everyone have a reason. I remember, growing up, this particular time, I know that period of time, I was maybe in my early elementary school, primary school at the time, very early. When there are things that will happen, and I was staying with my sister then, she would say I lied. But in me, I knew I did not lie. But if other people are hearing, what I was saying, they would agree I lied. But deep down within me, I know what I did. I know why, why I did what I did. I was not lying, left to me, but I got in trouble because all evidence around me pointed to the fact that I was lying, right? So, of course, that experience made me vow that I will always hear out any child, because, or anyone for that matter, because from their own point of view. And there are some scenarios here that even mentioned, that Dale mentioned about people generally, right? When you're criticizing anyone, they have their reason for doing what they are doing. Of course, the reason, is it acceptable? Is it tenable or not? That's a different question altogether. But do they see themselves doing the right thing? In their own mind, a lot of people see themselves doing the right thing. in their own mind. Recently, I read about narcissistic, people with narcissistic behavior. That author said, they are not only, they're not just, lying to the other person, or whatever they are doing is not just to the other person. They're doing it to themselves. They're lying to themselves as well. That I am doing this because I love you, and they believe that. I am causing life to be difficult for you because I love you, and they themselves believe that lie. So that is why being critical, using criticism is futile, because it puts a person on the defensive. When you criticize other person, I mean, look at yourself. When anyone criticizes you, what is your knee-jerk reaction? What is the very first thing you would do? Naturally, you would, call forth your lawyers in your head, defend me now. So you will begin to look at reasons to defend yourself, that's not why I did what I did. This is why I did what I did, and things like that. Usually, it makes them strive to justify themselves. So that is what criticism does. It's very dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride. And nobody wants their pride hurt. Nobody wants their pride wounded. So it hurts their sense of importance and arouses resentment. Even at the end of the day, if you've been able to prove that they were stupid, if you've been able to prove that they are lying, if you've been able to prove that they're doing what you said they're doing, it will leave behind taste of resentment against you. So it's a lose-lose approach. It's never a win-win approach. All right. So definitely, there is this world famous psychologist, B.F. Skinner, that proved through his experiments that an animal, when rewarded for good behavior, will learn much more rapidly and retain what it's learned far more effectively than when an animal is punished for bad behavior. Of course, I learned this earlier when you're, learning about child development, training your child. Exactly. So that's a very good one, Irene. How can we tell the truth without hurting somebody's pride? Yes, you will see that in this book. Amazing examples. Amazing. Dale did an amazing job in covering how to do that, how to be able to do that in this book. We're going to see a few of them. So, definitely the answer is in this book for us. All right. So it says, if you, while raising my kids as toddlers and kids before, you have to read books and things. One of the things that I've understood is, to positive reinforcement. You employ positive reinforcement, it works better than being critical, than punishment. When you emphasize, you dwell more on when they do something, you amplify, and you praise them, you reward them when they do something that they're supposed to do. But when they do something that is not acceptable, your network is jealous, don't mind it. Don't mind it, Nasia. Hopefully it gets better. Hopefully you can still hear us now. All right. So when they do something bad, don't dwell too much on it, but rather quickly move on to turning it around to be positive. All right. So it says, later, studies have shown that the same applies to humans. By criticizing, we do not make lasting changes and often incur resentment. If there's nothing else you're taking out of this, always remember that. Another great psychologist said, as much as we thirst for approval, we dread condemnation. Yes, it's life. I'm going to share the replay on the group. Yes, so it's on YouTube right now. It's streaming live to YouTube. So I'll share the replay on the group, on the WhatsApp group. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. I always do that so that I don't forget to record. And then I use the stream live to YouTube because it's automatic. I don't have to wait until, okay, after I finish and then I'll upload. This is automatic upload, you know, to YouTube. So it's very, very, very easy for me. All right. So, you know, like I said, you need to read this book. I have the YouTube audio for you in the group. The PDF is in there. Listen to it. Like I told myself, you know, while I was going through this, that I need to read this at least once a month. Right? Once a month, to be able to be reminded of this on a daily basis. Read a chapter once a month, right? To be able to be reminded of this at every particular, especially those examples. Very, 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 very practical, very practical, you know, for us. So like this is one of the examples here, you know, where, you know, at an engineering company, he wanted people to use the helmet. Before, he would criticize them, he would even punish them, but he changed the approach and the result changed. So many, many examples like that. So is it here, there's a point here about a criminal, and of course, comparing a criminal with you know, an amazing person in history. That person did, that is Theodore Roosevelt, right? No, that's not the one I wanted to say. Let me see. Anyway, please do read it. This is in chapter 1. Please do go through this. I am missing the actual name of the person that it compared to this two-gun Crowley and all of that. Like the point I was making earlier, let's realize that criticism are like homing pigeons. They always return home. Let's realize that the person we're going to correct and condemn will probably justify himself or herself and condemn us in return. All right. Or like the gentle Taft will say, I don't see how I could have done any differently from what I have. Some people will say this out loud to you, but some will act it like, I've done the best I could. What else are you expecting from me, given the situation? Right. So definitely we need to look at that. And then there is this somebody that has this quotation as like a life mantra. I think it was Lincoln. He said, judge not that ye be not judged. Before he made this conclusion, he had been given to criticism before now. And it was when he did the last one, and that person, you know, challenged him to a duel, like a sword, like a duel, like a fight that, you know, in those days. And he chose to use, you know, sword because he was taller and he had a longer arm. And at the end of the day, he dreaded that duet that he might, because you have to fight till death. One person must die, you know. So he faced that. Is, we can say similar situation will be when somebody sues you for you know, whatever you said to them. This was him writing, you know, criticizing this other person. And they, in today's situation, they sued them to court, right? So definitely after that, he adopted this judge not that he be not judged, right? And then at some other time he says, don't criticize them. They are just what we will be under similar circumstances, right? If we have this at the back of our mind with the person that cut you off on the road, if you have this at the back of your mind with the person that, you know, you invited to your presentation and they said no, to the person that, you know, you said after they presented, you know, you presented it to them and they promised they're going to sign up, but eventually did not. possibly you might do the same thing on that same circumstance. So having that at the back of our mind will definitely help in, putting oneself in other people's shoes, basically. So sharp criticism and rebukes almost invariably end in futility. Like I said, it's a lose-lose, situation. There is nobody that wins in using criticism. Of course, in the interim, you might be at the beginning. If you're the one dishing out the criticism at the beginning, you might feel good, like, yes, you're giving them a piece of your mind. You're showing them, they've done something bad or they've not done it the right way. But by the time the other person receives it and responds, at the end of the day, it will leave you with a bad taste, because they then will begin to look for your own shortcomings. It might not come immediately, but then they are on the lookout. They will now put you under their own microscope. Like, yes, you think you're perfect? Okay, let's see how that goes. Okay. So bitter criticism caused the sensitive Thomas Hardy, one of the finest novelists ever to enrich English literature, to give up forever the writing of fiction. Can you imagine that? An amazing English, novelist that was criticized, and at the end of the day, it gave up, the writing of fiction. And then criticism drove Thomas Chatterton, the English poet, to suicide. Right? That is suicide on, on career, and suicide in life as well. Right? That is how toxic criticism is. That is how terrible it is. Okay. Of course, this book, one of the things that I want us to take out of this book is not everybody will have learned these techniques. So you will still be on the receiving end of criticism. Okay. So you will still be at the end of some criticism. So now you should now be able to fortify yourself with techniques to receive, this criticism in a more constructive manner. But of course, we're dealing with how you give feedback first and foremost. Okay. And then Benjamin Franklin said, the secret to his success is, I will speak ill of no man, he said, and speak all the good I know of everybody. When they say, one thing that I know, okay, one thing that I know is everybody, everyone, everything has something good within them, no matter what that thing is. All right. So if we see somebody, a product, a person, if we see that person, we must look for the good thing, no matter how terribly dressed they are, no matter how terribly, however they appear to us or present to us, we must look for something good to say about them. Like I said, this is a practical book. It's something we must practicalize. So from this chapter now, what is your takeaway? Okay, what is your takeaway? This one right here is another one. A great man shows his greatness, said Carlyle, by the way he treats little men. I think it was it Obama, or was it, I think, yes, it was former president of the United States, Clinton, that has been said to say, or maybe the way he handles, is it not him or President Obama, former President Obama, right? That even the janitor at the White House is like on first name basis. He greets, he acknowledges them, fist bump them, calls them by name, acknowledges them, no matter how important, the task ahead of him might be, right? So I think it was reported of Clinton, and then Obama exemplified that to a lot. So we have to you see how you see the greatness of somebody by how they treat little men. Little men, how do you treat a profile on social media that has less than 1,000 followers? How do you treat them? Those are things that apply now in our work. How do you treat when they reach out to you, wanting to hear more about your opportunities and things like that? When you reaching out to them, how are you presenting to them? Right? So how are you treating the little man? Okay, so people within your team, you're building a team, you're a leader, right? How do you treat those that are not performing as much? Right? Those that are, having difficulty selling, those that are having difficulty recruiting, that are not really performing. How do you treat them? Okay, so let's jump right quick to the end of this. It says, principle number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Rather, appreciate. Right? I'm going to look for the positive flow of this. Instead of saying don't, what should I do? I'm going to look for that here. Maybe share it next time. Don't criticize. Instead of criticizing, appreciate. Look for something, that you appreciate about that person. Instead of condemn, praise. Instead of complaining, maybe provide a solution. All right. So what are the things that we can do, right, in our interactions and in our relationships? Okay. Then chapter 2 says the big secret of dealing with people. The big secret of dealing with people. There is only one way under high heaven to get anybody to do anything. Do you ever stop to think of that? Yes, just one way, and that is by making the other person want to do it. That's it. How do you make somebody buy from you? How do you get somebody to buy from you? By making them want to buy it. We've heard this a lot, that, there are ways we can position ourselves, so much so that people will be begging, right? People will be begging for the link to make purchases on your website. People will be begging to join your team. So we're learning this technique now. How do you get people to want to do what you want them to do? Okay. I love that, Nusiat. This is timely in my process of forgiving. Wow. Yes, I agree. I totally agree. This is essential when it comes to needing to forgive. Very, very essential. I cannot, agree more to this. Okay. So, it's very, very, very important that we note all of these things, right, in our relationships and all of that. Very, very, very essential. All right. So let's see here. 1 second. So like it says here, how do you get people to do something? You get them to want to do it. So how do we do that? The only way I can get you to do anything is by giving you what you want. So when we are selling, we need to be able to position our message in a way that it would showcase, it would tell the customer, to tell your prospect what is in it for them. With him, what's in it for me? Well, I'm sure we've heard that times and times. What is in it for me? That is what most people are, wanting to know. What is in this for me, right? To buy from you. And knowing that will fine tune and reposition our sale copy, our ads. When you're putting out your ads, Knowing that will help you definitely know how to, present those things you put together to showcase what do the customer want, right? And then you are here to offer it to them. Okay. Then he says the deepest urge in human nature is the desire to be important, period. And that is, the solid truth. The biggest desire is, the urge, the desire to be important. So when you are interacting with anyone, how can you make them feel important? It says everybody likes a compliment. That is it's free. There's you don't have to pay to give anybody compliment, right? People want to feel appreciated. Okay, make them feel important. Absolutely, Irene. Right? They want to be appreciated, so they craving it. Now, let's see, other cravings that people have, so that we see it where it is, the cater, where feeling of importance is. It says we crave to have health and preservation of life. Nobody wants to die. So put the importance, the feeling of importance side by side with the desire to live. Hey, amen. I say amen to that for you. Amazing. I'm telling you, your relationship will reap the benefit. So put the feeling of importance side by side with the desire to live. It's like breath, food, sleep. Have you seen a foodie before? Somebody that loves food. Sleep. Now, how many days can you go without sleeping? How many days can you go for without sleeping? Right? And there is no how. Your body will make you sleep. Especially when you are sleep deprived, maybe you've only had like 2 hours of sleep in a day. By the 5th day, your body will automatically take it from you, because you will sleep on the steering. You will fall asleep on the steering. That is how important the feeling of importance is. However, that is something, that feeling of importance, if you look at it, money and the things money can buy, life in the hereafter, of course, our eternity, sexual gratification, the well-being of our children. Okay, now the feeling of importance is as important as all of these things. Now, if you look at all of them, the only thing that somebody cannot give themselves is that being treated and being made feel important. Of course, you have your own self-esteem, right? You've built yourself to the point that nothing phases you. But if you are being bombarded by criticism every day, every now and then, it will weigh on you. At the end of the day, it will take a toll on your self-esteem. So, so we all crave to be appreciated. So this desire makes you want to wear the latest styles, drive the latest cars, and talk about your brilliant children. These are the attempts that we make to make ourselves feel important. But the one that is long lasting. Now, when you begin to see somebody that is so much, given to wearing the latest style, what comes to mind? Usually, like, I mean, it just comes as if they have something to prove. You want to drive the latest cars. It's not rich. That value is not rich enough compared to now somebody outside of yourself being able to make you feel important. You will hear somebody say, you made my day. You know, when you do such a thing, you will hear them say, you made my day. And then I love this. It says, if you tell me how you get your feeling of importance, I'll tell you what you are. And it determines your character. That is the most significant thing about you. We see some examples here. John D. Rockefeller got his feeling of importance by giving money to erect a modern hospital in Peking, China, to care for millions of poor people whom he had never seen and never will see. Dillinger, on the other hand, which is a bandit, a robber, got his feeling of importance by being a bandit, a bank robber, and killer. When the FBI agents were hunting him, he dashed into a farmhouse up in Minnesota and said, I'm Dillinger. He was so proud of the fact that he was a public enemy number one. I'm not going to hurt you, but I'm Dillinger. So he felt like, you should know me. I'm public, I'm public enemy number one. That is how, those that are, doing bad, that's how they feel, they get their feel of importance. But it zeroes down into that hole that is missing in every person. And that is that craving to be appreciated, craving to have that feel of importance. Now, the homework on this is make somebody feel important. Make somebody feel important every day, every single day of your life. On social media, wherever. And I think the one thing, if you just do it once a while, it will appear suspect. People will suspect why you are doing it, but make it a habit. When somebody make a post, though they are your prospect, you've found them, you added them to your contact list, they are, future prospect, and you want to engage them. Make your comments, make them feel important. Sending birthday greetings, sending private messages, make them feel important. And where it will not feel weird is when you are consistent. So as we are taking it as homework right now, make people feel important. Let it be your everyday way of life now, that you make other people feel important. All right. So that is very, very essential. Can you imagine these stories? I need you to go read this one. People sometimes become invalids in order to win sympathy and attention and get a feeling of importance. I tell you, this is how important that feel of importance is. So the people get sick, make themselves feel sick so that other people can attend to them. And that is how they get a feel of importance, right? That is to tell you how high up there when it comes to survival that feel of importance is. And you will hear some, people come back to you like, wow, I appreciate you. I hear this other lady reach out to me like, thank you. I see that you're always, liking my post. Thank you so much for all your good comments and things like that. It will come back to you. Such comments might come on the days that you're feeling low, like you're tired, you yourself need to feel important. And then that comment comes as a result, as a fruit of what you have sown into them, right? Some people feel, go into insanity, fake insanity, and really create growth. Exactly. Some people in them, they're not faking it. They drive themselves into insanity just because in that dream world, in that dreamland of insanity, they got their feel of importance. Everybody is after them. Everybody is taking care of them. Everybody is attending to them. And that makes them feel important, being wheeled around. makes them feel important. Doctor attending to them all the time makes them feel important. We need to rescue some people from such craving and just feed them, that importance as they come across us as we go from today onward. All right. And then, okay. So I think that is where I'm going to end that. Yes, it's powerful. There's nothing I need so much as nourishment for my self-esteem. So how often do you, nourish your self-esteem? Now, I love this comparison here. That's the thing that I love about the writing of Dale. He's able to, and he took his time, he was teaching these principles for years. I think he took him over 20 some years to put this together. I think over 15 years rather, to put this together in a book. So he's practicalized it. He's been able to, work with, smaller groups of people that he gave homeworks to go practicalize it. And they came back with feedbacks as things turning around in their businesses, at their jobs, in their relationships. So these are filled with concrete evidence that these principles work. Now, he made this contrast from what somebody said about, okay, where is it? Aha. Some readers are saying right now, as they read these lines, because I said appreciation, not flattery. This is my note, right? But he says, oh, Fui, flattery, beer hall. I've tried that stuff. It doesn't work. Not with intelligent people. Now, he said, of course, flattery seldom works with discerning people. That is not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about flattery. You see somebody that is flat out not doing their best work, and you're telling them they're doing a good job. Before it comes out of your mouth, it's smelling foul already. The difference between appreciation and flattery, what is it? That is simple. One is sincere and the other is insincere. One comes out from the heart out, the other from the teeth out. One is unselfish, the other is selfish. One is universally admired, the other is universally condemned, right? So definitely, we are not to submit ourselves to flattery, but rather we must give honest and sincere appreciation. And that is principle number 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Okay. Now, the 3rd chapter talks about he who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. All right. And this definitely goes back to, giving us, being able to give your customer what they want. So the only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. Okay. So what do your customers need? That is the question. What do your customers need? You have to have the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. Of course, you were reaching out to anyone. You're after, your business growth and your revenue growth. Absolutely, right? That's from your own point of view, and you want them to buy from you or join your team. But what do they want? So that will come from being able to study this person, being able to take interest in this person, being able to know what is their like, what are the things they like. Have you cultivated, that relationship with them to the point that the kind of fragrances they like, right? That that when you talk about fragrance to them, it's something that will be welcomed, right? So when that is the type of things they want to hear, then showing them your high-end quality fragrance and products will not be a problem. The world is full of people who are grabbing and self-seeking. So the rare individual who unselfishly tries to serve others has an enormous advantage. He has little competition. Now, when you reach out to people, they might have need, present need, that they need you, they need your help with. For example, you reach out to them, you see, from interacting with them, maybe virtually or, physically, you see that they have skin issues. And here you are with an amazing skincare product that will solve this problem for them. Right? So how do you, and while you reach out to them, you're able to, show them, okay, this product is amazing and all of that. You're warming yourself up to them to show them that. But then they ask you for sunscreen, and your company do not carry sunscreen. What do you do? Do you just tell them, no, I don't have sunscreen? Or is that something that you need to research into to see which sunscreen on the market will go well with your product? So that when your customers that need sunscreen that your company does not offer, you have a ready answer for them. So even if they're not ready for your product at the time, you're able to provide a solution to them for what they need right now. So being able to unselfishly serve them at the end of the day, once you've served them with what they need, yes, you recommend those that you trust. Exactly. Absolutely. Right? So you want to present to them, what they need. You want to serve their needs as well. So basically, principle number 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. So what can you say to them? How can you show them that they want what you are selling them? So there's a remark that he mentioned here that people wants to buy, but they don't want to be sold. People wants to buy from you, but they don't want to be sold. So how can you get people to buy without selling them? Period. That sounded like a book, Selling Without Selling. That's another book that we might look into down the line when it comes to skills, selling without selling. So people wants to buy, but they don't want to be sold. That is the truth. And those are the things we need to. So that is chapters 1, 2, and 3 for us, covering the first 3 principles on the fundamental techniques in handling people. Principle number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Principle number 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. And principle number 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. All right, that's it for me. I don't know if any additional comment really creates growth. Yeah, so I've been dipping in here for your comments to see, as we go along. I appreciate your contribution. Today's was interactive. Thank you. Right. Homework, make everybody feel important. Absolutely. So let's go do that. All right, that is it for me. Any question? And let me see, the very first question you asked earlier on, I think it was Dr. Irene that mentioned, how can we tell the truth without hurting somebody? And that is where we come with, looking for something to appreciate about that person, right? Looking for something, no addition from me, okay. Oh, very, very informative. You're welcome. So looking for something, right, that you can appreciate about them. All right. for example, if you see that they are consistently being late, you can appreciate, oh, I really, one thing that I can give you is you are very consistent. Consistent. You can be very, very consistent, right? And then once you see them do something that is positive, that is very admirable, you tell them, yes, I know you can be consistent in this as well, right? And a mentor of mine, a while back, he mentioned, when you see somebody dress shabbily or do something not what that you don't like, don't say anything on that day. Wait until they did something good or they dressed well. Then you go to them, wow, I love the way you're dressed today, right? Or whatever they've done. Wow, I saw that it seems like you're very good, at doing this particular thing here. And I know you can, with a little more effort, you can do great at that as well, and the other things as well, right? The other example in this book was somebody that the person used the wrong fuel in an airplane. And of course, it caused an emergency, landing, that they couldn't go get the airplane off the ground. At the end of the day, they found out the engineer made a mistake, put the wrong fuel in the aircraft. Automatically, that seems to be like a ground for being fired on the spot. But the owner came and said, for the fact to show you that I trust that you will not make this mistake again, you're going to do this job for me tomorrow. You're going to, do this job for my personal fleet tomorrow, right? What would that person do? They would check all the checklists to make sure, the safety checklist, the process checklist, to make sure they've done what they need to do. They will check it twice, thrice, 4 times. They will have their peer check it. Did I put the correct fuel in? Check well, So that person will go the extra mile to make sure they did the right thing. So I hope that answered your questions. All right. That is it for me today. Have a wonderful one. Thanks so much for joining. I enjoyed your interactions today. Really, really, it was really nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Have a wonderful one, everyone. Bye.